Well, hello. Firstly, I want to say a big, great, fat thank you for everyone who subscribed and who are waiting for the new videos. Here they are. Secondly, what I want to talk today about is the basics of Procreate. I know firsthand how hard it is just to start learning about the new software in order to start creating the first pictures in there. So what I want to do today is to provide a little bit of a value and make your first day in Procreate not so painful. It doesn't matter if you are coming from any kind of PC background. I mean, you were creating some illustrations in Photoshop, Medibank, Paint.si, maybe Krita, and something like that. Well, firstly, when you just open Procreate, you will have a little bit of a shock of how this app, Procreate, is nice and kind to you and how it's not that painful to work there. Secondly, you will have some Procreate-wise, software-wise questions. If you're coming from a very blank space and you don't know anything about this artsy stuff and you're just here to start your artistic journey, well, you are welcome here as well. We will cover everything that you need to know about the app to start creating your first illustrations there. So without any further ado, let's just go and learn some stuff. Okay, kids. Firstly, I have two tips that are not related to Procreate, but they are very, very useful. The first one is to get a glove. Very simple, 2 fingers glove. If you can get it, just get it. It's a game changer. You will be able to slide through your iPad without making any unnecessary movement with your palm. The second tip is to lift up your iPad. Well, if you have a case, just fold it like that. And if it's not enough, just put something under it. If you are a hoarder like me, you can just use the Apple Pencil case. Yeah. So that's it for the tips. Let's move on and let's just start our journey with the Procreate. The first thing that you will see when you just opened Procreate is the screen. We have the default pictures right here, and that's not what we're going to be talking about today. Firstly, to create your first illustrations there, you will need to create the canvas. And to make this, we will need to go to this plus icon and we can choose from the amount of options that you can see onto this little list. If it's not enough for you, you can go and tap on this dark thingy and manually write down the dimensions that you like. So today I'm going to be using just the square RGB preset. And when we have it, we can see that we have the interface of the Procreate right here. We have some stuff on the left, we have some stuff on the right, and probably let's just start with the stuff on the right because, well, it's right to start from the right? We have here the brush, the smudge, the eraser, the layers, and the colors. So let's just start with the brush. If you tap on it, you will go to the brush library and you can just go through all these little folders and find what you like. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using the technical pen. So let's just grab it and let's just go to our canvas and start making some lines. So if I move my Apple Pencil there, I'm creating some lines. You can see that we have 2 sliders on the left. The slider on the top is gonna make your brush size a little bit bigger. The slider on the bottom will change the opacity of your brush. Also here you can see a little arrow, and if we tap on it, we will just get rid of the last action that we performed. But it's not very convenient to go back and forth to these arrows to get rid or get back your elements. So it's very convenient to use the hand gestures. So if you take 2 fingers and if you tap once on your screen, you will get rid of the last option of the last action that you performed. If you use your 3 fingers, you will get it back. If you want to scrap everything that you have onto your canvas, you will use 3 fingers and you will make the movement like that. So I will get it back to show you the other options. So the second thing here is the smudge. Well, it needs to smudge things, and if you are a painter or if you want to make everything smooth, you just use this thing. It works the same way. If you tap on it, you will go to the brush library and you will have again the same options as for the brush to choose from. So the next one is an eraser, and I am sure that I don't really need to just tell you about the eraser because you probably know what the eraser does. But if you use your Apple Pencil and tap on it twice, you can switch from the eraser to the brush and back from brush to eraser. And I don't know why no one is talking about it. It's very useful. So the next one is layers. Layers, we will talk a little bit about them later because now it's not very convenient. So we will get back to it. And the last thing in row is the colors. So the colors, we have a few options of how to use them. There is the disc, there is the classic, harmony, value, and palette's way of choosing the colors. And it's up to you what you're going to be using. So I am the disc lady, girl, I don't know, little darkness moment. So I prefer to use the disc, and let's just pick some color and let's just start making some illustration for today. So I will go with this green and I will scrap everything that we have onto the screen by using 3 fingers. So now let's just get back our options for the brush and we will try to make a very nice, very smooth circle or an ellipse. So I will try my best to create an ellipse that will look like an ellipse. So just go in there and do my best. You can see that it's not very nicely done. And if you hold your Apple Pencil at the end of the line, you will see that you can do better. So the line will be very smooth, and this thing that you are doing right now is called a quick shape tool. Unhold your Apple Pencil and you will see a little option on the top that is called Edit Shape. Edit Shape will allow you to choose from a few options right here. So for the ellipse, we have ellipse and circle. And if we tap on a circle, we can make this line that we created circle-ish. Also, we have the options right here, the dots that we can drag, and that will allow us to change our element right here. And also, if you just hold your Apple Pencil, you will And also, if you just hold your Apple Pencil, you will be able to move your element through your canvas. So, nice thing done, but if you messed up and if you miss this opportunity to edit the shape, you can do the following. We will go to the Select tool and then we will go to the Transform tool. As we have just one element here, we can straightly go to the Transform tool, but it's not very fun. Let me show you how the Selection tool works. We will go to the top panel on the left and we will tap on this S icon right here. The thing on the bottom just popped up and we have a few options of how we can select our object. And probably the very useful one is the freehand. You can just go along your shape and just select it in that way. So the stuff that is seen is the area that you selected, and everything that is beyond the frames, it's not selected area. So now when we selected it, we can go to the Transform tool, and Transform tool is here under this arrow. So you can see the bounding box and you can have a few options of distorting your elements. So the freeform will just allow you to do anything that you want. Uniform will preserve the proportions. So just play a little bit around with this tool, and when you're satisfied, let's just deselect everything. To deselect everything, we again need to go to the top panel and we need to just tap on one of these selected tools. Now it's time to use the layers. I would like to add 2 elements on the top, and I will probably do it by creating a new layer and do it on this new layer. So we are going to the layers, we're tapping on this plus icon, and here we have a freshly done layer. Now I will get back and I will create one element right here. So I created the first element and I want to make a copy. What should I do? Firstly, I will need to go to the Selection tool and select this area. Then I'm going to the Transform tool and I'm using the hand gestures to copy these elements. I will use 3 fingers and I will slide down from top to bottom to have this copy and paste menu. So firstly, we will need to tap copy and then we will again slide down with 3 fingers and we will use paste. Now you can see that we again have the bounding box. And if we want to move it to the side and use the same line that we have our first element on, we will need to go to snapping and we will need to choose magnetics and snapping right here onto this window. Now, if we move it to the side, you will see that we are moving on the same line that we have our first element on. When you're satisfied, let's deselect everything. And now we can go to the layers. And probably we don't really need all these layers for each element that we have right here. So let's just merge them together. We can merge the layers in two different ways. The first one is to go to our top layer, tap on it, and choose merge down. Now you see that we have two elements on one layer. The second option of how you can merge the layers is using your two fingers and just making the movement like that. So go into the layers, putting one finger on the top one, putting the second finger on the bottom one, and making the pinch movement. Now everything is on one layer. So when we have the base, let's just recolor everything that we have right here inside. Firstly, you need to make sure that your lines are closed. So you can see that I am here having a little trouble. So I will go manually and just connect this part together. Now, as for the coloring, we can do it manually by using some maybe texture brush, but if you don't want to do it, you can just go and use the color drop method. The color drop method works in that way. We are going to this icon with the color and we are just dragging it to the area that we need to recolor. So let's just do it 1, 2, 3, 4 more times. Now we have a nice base and I will make one more layer and add some elements here as the details. Also, you can make the copy of your elements without your 3 fingers. You can just go to the layers. So for example, I have the different layer for this white element. I will swipe my layer from right to left and I will choose duplicate. Then I will go to the transform tool and I will again use the snapping method. I will go and move this copy to the right. Now I again will go to the layers and combine them all together by merging them. And I will continue adding some details. You can see that this method with the quick shape tool works not only with the ellipse or the circle, it works with any kinds of lines that you want to make. So for example, I made this half of a circle and I can go and create something like just a line, for example. Okay, now, what if you want to add some elements inside the shape that you already have here, but you don't really want to go beyond them? So you can go to the layers, you can tap on your layer, and into this little list, you can choose Alpha Lock. Alpha Lock works in a way that you can just create something inside the elements that you already have onto this layer. Let me just show you how it works. So you can see that I am making a full circle right here, but I'm not going beyond the frame of the face of this little froggy. And that's how the Alpha Lock works. Okay, now when you have the base, what if you want to add some shadows, for example, or highlights? We can do it on the same layer, but it will be a little bit kinda, well, dirty. But we can create one more layer above the layer that we already have for this base, and we can use the clipping mask. So let's just go and do so. Firstly, I will set off the Alpha Lock by tapping on it and just choosing Alpha Lock from the list. Now I'm creating the new layer, I'm tapping on it, and I'm choosing Clipping Mask. It works the same way as the Alpha Lock, but it is on the different layer, so it's not that dramatic. You can just go and get rid of it. So now we are creating the shadows, and the best way probably to create the shadows is to use the blending modes. Blending modes are the different settings for your layer that you can use to create a different, like, well, things. I don't know. Modes. Okay, doesn't matter. So the blending modes are different settings for your layers. Let's just go to this N icon, we will tap on it and we will go through this list and we will choose multiply. Multiply works the best when you are about to create the shadows. Also, now you can see that we have the opacity slider. The opacity slider, you already know what it is. It works the same way as the opacity of the brush, but it is applying to the whole layer. So for now, we will just leave it as a maximum and later we will get back to it and we will adjust it. So when we chose the multiply blending mode, we will go to our colors and we will grab the different color. You can use one color for every shadow that you have onto your illustration, or you can just pick different colors. It's all up to you. I will go and probably use some purplish color. I will go to my layer and I will just go and create the shadows on the places where probably the shadows should be. So now you can see that it is a little bit too much saturated, and we will go to the layers and we will go to this M icon and we will change the opacity of the layer. Now let's do one more thing and we will add the highlights the same way as we added the shadows. So again, go and creating one more layer, setting it as a clipping mask, and now we need to change the different blending mode, and this time you can choose from Add, Soft Light, and probably Overlay. It's up to you, play a little bit around and just create the highlights in that way. So we are mostly done with our illustration. We are mostly done with everything that we need to learn the basics of Procreate to start creating our first illustrations. But let's just add a few more beautifications. So firstly, I would like to, for example, change the background color. And I will do it in that way. I will go to the layers, I will go to the background color, and I will just choose the color from here. So for example, like that. If you want to get rid of your background color, just go and uncheck this box near the background color. The last thing that I want to show you is how to add the noise. So firstly, we will need to merge all the layers together, but what if we'd like to change it later? So the option is to go with your 3 fingers and just use the copy all option here. Again, 3 fingers, paste. If you go to the layers, you will see that you have everything that you have onto your canvas onto one layer. And now we can just go to the adjustment and we can go to noise. Here you have a few options, and you will firstly need to go through your canvas from left to right and change the amount of noise that you want to see onto your canvas. So you can do it with your finger, you can do it with your Apple Pencil. Probably something like that is enough. You can change the options, you can change the scale. So find what works best for your illustration. And when it's done, our last resort here is to export our illustration, and again we will do it in that way. We can go to this range icon and we will go to the share tab right here. We have a few options of how you can just export your illustration. If you want just a simple picture, you will go with the JPEG option. If you want to make a sticker or something with a transparent background, firstly you will go and get rid of your background, and then you will export it as a PNG. If you, for example, would like to play with your layers in Photoshop, I don't know why you would like to do so, but it's you. I don't know you. You will export it as a PSD. So that's probably it for our tutorial. And if it was anyhow helpful, just smash the like button or don't. Smash the bell if you want to get more of these videos and want to know about them. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.